In this tutorial, I'll show you how to go from this to this. And this will work for any game, not just World of Tanks. Any game where you can change the replay speed, we can slow it down. You can use this very same method on your other game to achieve the same result. Now, to get this happening, you'll need three programs. You need Virtual Dub, which is free. You need the full version of FRAPS, because the demo only records half a minute at a time. And you need a video editing program. In this example, I use Premiere Pro. And excuse the poor audio, by the way. Before we begin, I'll guide you through the FRAPS settings. Okay, so we only really care about the movies section. First thing you do is you select the folder where you want to save your videos. Now, this will require a lot of gigabytes, possibly hundreds, maybe even thousands, so a terabyte, depending on how long you want your video to be. So choose a drive with plenty of space. Second thing I'll get you to do is to untick to record the sound. We don't need that for now. Third thing is you can ignore this. I'm using this to record this actual video, which is the only reason it's ticked. Choose full size and choose 15 frames per second in here. And that's all for now, and then go into World of Tanks. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to change your graphics settings from whatever shitty graphics it's on now down to 1080p settings. So go to 1920 times 1080, choose 16:9, turn AA on, choose maximum here, and make sure that this is unticked, and then simply press apply. I'm sure you've noticed by now that there's a yellow number up in the corner of your screen. That's actually FRAPS's frames per second counter. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to press F9 to start recording and watch your battle. And this number will turn red when you're recording. Now, I want you to keep track of its average. So basically, mine is saying 11. Mine's staying constantly at around 11 right now. If it jumps wildly, you want to probably take the lower numbers into consideration. So just get a little bit of a feel for where the average frames per second are. Or you can use the World of Tanks frames per second counter, which is in the brackets in the corner behind the FRAPS counter. You can turn off the FRAPS counter by pressing F12. Alright, so after you've gotten a feel for the average frames per second of your, or rather that your computer can generate, go back into FRAPS, tick lock frame rate while recording, and refer to the table from before, which I might even pop up on the screen now, depending on how I edit this. So my frames per second were 11, which means that according to the table, I should do 7.5 frames per second. Okay. And now we're basically ready to record. So we'll jump back into World of Tanks again. And now we need to refer to the table again. Now my frame rate was around 11. According to the table, I need to record at a quarter speed. So I'm going to set it to 1/4 speed, and I'm going to hit record. Okay, there it is. And basically you just wait now until you get to the end of the replay or wherever you need to record to. I'll fast forward that part because watching this is extremely boring, obviously. Alright, so after you're done recording, you should have a bunch of files like this. What I want you to do is to start your virtual dub and just drag and drop the first replay file, or the first movie file into virtual dub. Now, this won't actually load the rest of them. So what we need to do is we need to go to File, Append AVI segment, and then just simply select the next one, because it has an option down here which will auto detect the rest of them. Okay, and now we have a complete replay file ready to be converted. So all we need to do is go up to video, frame rate, and choose 29.97. Now if you do this in Premiere Pro, if you increase the frame rate, it'll still look the same. Doesn't really process all the frames like this one does. And after we've done that, we go to save as AVI, choose a new file name, we'll call it converted, and we hit save. And this could take a pretty long time, so again I'm going to fast forward this. Okay, and mine's just about done, so I'll wait for that to finish. Okay, we can get rid of virtual dub at this point, it doesn't matter. But we now have a file here converted, and it's a lot bigger. Now at this point you can, if you need space, you can delete your FRAPS files. As long as this has been converted to 30 frames per second, you can delete all the FRAPS files. Alright, what we want to do at this point is we want to put some kind of crap frame rate here, 10, half size, and we want to record Windows sound this time. We actually want to capture the sound, and it doesn't matter if you lock the frame while recording. All we really care about is the sound. So at this point I'll get you to go back into your world of tanks. You can change your graphics back to normal, it doesn't really matter, and record another replay with FRAPS again, this time at normal speed. And once you've done that, get back to me. Okay, so once you've recorded that second replay where we only care about the sound, fire up the virtual dub again, drag and drop the file in there, go down to File, Save Wave, and just save your wave. And that's pretty much it for now. You can close your virtual dub and delete your second replay file. Alright, the next step is compiling the two. So you open your video editor of choice. I'm going to demonstrate in Premiere Pro. Select your working directory. Choose this one, AVCHD 1080p, 1080p 30. Okay. And then you drag and drop your two files into there. Put your converted file here. If you by any chance recorded audio, take off the audio by doing that, and then put your wave file here under there. Now what I do is I put them in the middle here so I can juggle them back and forth how I need to, and then I'll line them up to the start later. Alright, so you can zoom in a bit for finer adjustments and put them close together, and you use this thing for the time, and you press space to play.
Move out.
Okay, so saying move out at about here. And move out needs to be here. So I'll just fine tune that.
Move out.
That's about right, but not quite.
Move out.
It's easiest to tune to gunshots, so the only reason I'm tuning it to the 0, try to get his voice to say move out when it counts down to 0, is because that's the only reference I have. If you have a gunshot, it's very easy to sync your audio.
Move out.
So we'll pretend that's synced. It says move out on 0
Move out.
approximately. So what you do is you go to the start of your file here, use this thing to cut off excess video, delete it, and then you can just drag both of them to the very start. Okay, then you save your project. You fire up the media encoder. You can close your project if you want. Drag and drop your project into the media encoder. Choose sequence 1. And then on this side you have presets. So go to System, Web Video, drag and drop the 29.97 frames per second 1080p YouTube into there. You can delete the one above that. Yep. And then that's where your file will render. It's doing it into YouTube's format. And if you want even better render quality, click that. Go and select Use Maximum Render Quality. Okay, and then you simply press play. Now, of course, as usual, I'll fast forward this. Okay, and I'm back, and the thing's nearly done. Just wait for it to finish. And now we have our sequence 1 file.
Move out.
Now, obviously the audio's off. I didn't spend too much time perfecting it. I didn't really have a reference point where I shot my gun, so I can sync the audio to that. But as you can see, the frame rates are smooth. It's a lot smoother than it was when I was playing it back normally. That's basically the whole point of this video, is to get you good graphics